I'd like to entertain a motion to reconvene in open session.
Madam Chair, I move that we reconvene in open session from closed session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Yes, I'm ready for you. Ms. Burnett?
Certification of closed session. Whereas the Dinwiddie County School Board has convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas paragraph 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Dinwiddie County School Board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only such business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the school board. Jay Sneff, District 1.
I certify.
Betty Haney, District 2.
I certify.
Barbara Pittman, District 3.
I certify.
Mary Benjamin, District 4.
I certify.
Sherilyn Merritt, District 5.
Certify.
Madam Chair, all certify.
Thank you. At this time, the middle school going to assist us with the Pledge of Allegiance? That's a question, actually.
Yes.
Yes, they're going to.
You'll be fine. Would you please stand?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Need a motion for the agenda and adoption amendments.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as written.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion does carry. Closed session report.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept personnel list as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion does carry. Our consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the expenditure report as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion carries. Minutes.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of October 10th, October 11th, and October 24th meetings as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion carries. On recognitions, Dr. Weston, we're working on
Ms. Robinson.
middle school. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
The Communications Department would like to say happy birthday to all of our November birthdays. Last week was School Psychologist Week. This past weekend was Veterans Day, and we want to just recognize our very own veterans. Winston Bland from the Transportation Department, Diane Droughty for Transportation, Brittany Gradal from Sutherland, Willie Mae Jackson-Jones from Midway, Randy Johnson from Midway, Jerry Jones from Encompass, Patrick Judy, Dinwiddie High School, Michael Cuspa from Dinwiddie Middle School, Leah Pierce from Sutherland, Sam Richardson from Dinwiddie High School, Duncan Robinson, Dinwiddie High School, Daniel Rogerson, Dinwiddie High School, Jeremy Shepard, Dinwiddie High School, Richard Spence, Dinwiddie Middle School, Samuel Thornton, Dinwiddie Middle School, Jeffrey Walters, School Board, Miss Washington, School Board, Jennifer Weber, DMS, Clarence Williams from Transportation, and our SROs, Officers Kincaid, McCall, John W., and Officer Hatton. Okay? This week is also American Education Week. So we want to thank all of our DCPS staff as well. We would lastly like to acknowledge that this month is National Family Engagement Month. Ms. Alicia Drake, would you please come forward as I read the proclamation from Governor Glenn Youngkin? The official proclamation, Family Engagement in Education Month. Whereas parents should sit at the head of the table in their child's education journey, and whereas family engagement is critical to ensuring a strong home-to-school relationships spanning pre-K to post-secondary education. Whereas families are essential partners to our teachers in understanding of learning pathways for students that promote growth, proficiency, and enthusiasm for learning. Whereas a strong family-to-school partnership is essential now to enable and revitalize student achievement, which has significantly declined below pre-pandemic levels. Whereas positive relationships between families and schools strengthen student outcomes in the community in which our children live. And whereas families, teachers, and schools must commit to ensure that their students attend school every day. Whereas schools division and school boards are committed to providing necessary, accurate data about students, teachers, and schools to guide and advise parents on the best alternatives for their students. And whereas family engagement teams across the Commonwealth ensure parents are active partners in their children's education. Now, therefore, I, Glenn Youngkin, as the proclamation states, do hereby recognize November 2023 as Family Engagement and Education Month in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Here is your proclamation, Miss Alicia Drake, and hold on for one moment. Jonathan, would you please help me up? Jonathan and I went to get you a little gift today to recognize Family Engagement Month. Thank you so much for everything that you do for Dinwiddie County Public Schools, okay? Thank you. Now we'll have our school spotlight. This month, it is none other than Dinwiddie Middle School.
Good afternoon. I would just like to say that today is my 1 month work anniversary. Being the proud principal of Dinwiddie Middle School. And so this is going to be our theme. We are going to change the perception to reach greater heights. So within this 1 month, I have done the following. I have had 15-minute relationship building questions with all of the staff members. Those 4 questions included why DMS, 3 things they wanted me to know about them, how could I support them, and then if they would have been appointed to the seat, 2 things that they would have done. And so this has given me a lot of feedback, a lot of insight, and data that will be used. Today, we celebrated Parent Engagement Month by me standing in the parking lot, and as our children were being picked up, I passed out popcorn and a welcome letter. On yesterday, Mr. Garnes and myself hosted a parent forum, bridging the gap between DMS to DHS. And in December, we will be sponsoring a parent shadowing a day in the life of a middle schooler. And we are going to be asking our parents to come in to support. So this 1 month has been very busy. So at this time, I am going to ask my staff and students to come forward. We are going to be sharing today about our junior ROTC program and our CTE courses. Students will share information from their specific courses. The leadership development students will speak about the collaboration with exceptional education classes. This includes Ms. Lambert, Johnson, and Nixon. Then we will introduce a new initiative, the Hour of Code, and this will be a school-wide activity and hope to collaborate with elementary schools. We also will be spotlighting our shop class as well. So at this time, I'm going to ask for our junior ROTC students to come. And these are our 8th graders, and they are going to tell you about how they attend the high school, the junior ROTC program.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Cadet Private Tallman, and this is Cadet Staff Sergeant Baldwin, and we're from the Dinwiddie Middle School JROTC program. And
You want to pull that down some so we can hear you?
I will. Sorry.
And we're old and don't hear things. Speak up just a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. So, the JROTC mission is to motivate young people to be better citizens, and it really shows. So. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, the JROTC goals is to promote citizenship, develop leadership, communicate effectively, improve physical fitness, provide incentive to live drug-free, strengthen positive self-motivation, provide a historical perspective of the military service, and work as a team member and graduate from high school. The main focus of the JROTC program is to help you strive to be a better person. Its main goal is to help you with your self-esteem and self-confidence. This program is not to get you interested 100% in the military, but it can simply help you in all career fields. Although we learn about marching and building relationships with our classmates and peers, the JROTC program helps you to be a team player, and most importantly, how to be a leader. This program has made me a better leader and student. Also has made me more physically fit and mentally prepared for anything that comes my way. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
This is the 8th grade JROTC program. It's the first year 8th graders from Dinwiddie Middle School have been able to participate. Students are bused over to the high school for their classes. There are 17 students in the program this semester, with 18 beginning with next semester. Cadets are mentored by the cadets from the high school program. What have I learned? JROTC has taught me how to work with other people. It's a team in JROTC. This program has helped me develop as a leader and a better person. The JROTC program helps with your emotional intelligence and teaches you American history. The curriculum of JROTC includes leadership, health and wellness, physical fitness, and JROTC is to help show who you really are and your self-esteem. This program has made me mentally feel better about myself and has taught me how to work better with other people. Because it's a team in JROTC, there is no I, it's we. The program helped me keep my grades up because it teaches you to work faster and smarter. And I would recommend this program because it could help you in the future with many leadership positions and jobs. I would take the program again because it helped me physically and mentally. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carlesia Manson.
I'm Autumn Cox.
So in our engineering workshop class, we have learned about tools, we have learned about different screwdrivers, measurements, and and just a whole different bunch of type of tools and how to use tools and how to measure simple fractions and other things like that. And we have learned how to bend copper pipes and how to use a whole lot of tools and how to solder pipes. And we have learned how to reduce fractions. This class helps with it incorporates math, and it helps us with math and how to reduce fractions. And we learn how to build stuff in this class.
Engineering class has prepared us for in the future when we need to fix something around the house. Instead of paying other people a lot of money to come do it, we can do it ourselves. This is Carlasia using a saw blade to cut what were we cutting? I don't know, a piece of wood or something. And Anthony was using a rivet gun to put a dog pen together. I don't know what they were doing. They were drilling something. We were stripping a wire in case when we get older we have to fix a light switch or something. He was grinding the floor because we put epoxy on the floors and painted the walls. This is us painting. They put a table together and we were mudding. And we glued PVC pipes together. And yeah. Oh, that's the
next room.
Thank you.
A leader is one who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. Good afternoon, school board, teachers, and parents. I am Maggie Lamberth, here with my teammates Brianna Parham and Noah Vadalana. We are here to talk about our Buddy Project. The Buddy Project is a group of 8th grade students that consists of me, the leader, Marvin Drew, Olivia Cox, Bella Bishop, Noah Vadalana, Brianna Parham, Riley Powell, Chris Stubbs, and Rayleigh Carter. We work with exceptional education students in Miss Johnson's, Miss Lamberth, and Miss Dixon's class. Each student is matched with a buddy in our group that matches their personality. We participate with them in arts and crafts and other educational activities that help their minds grow and succeed.
Good afternoon. I am Noah Vanalena. Some of the activities that we have worked on with them are pumpkin people, hand wreaths, watercolor leaf paintings, colored pumpkins, and leaf lions. Although these seem like just some fun crafts, each of these activities help them overcome frustrations that come their way and help them with their communication skills. This one. All right, you start talking.
I'm Brianna Parham. Overall, working with the students helps both groups with social interactions and behavioral setbacks that may occur now and in the future. This program was first suggested by Ms. Lamberth and Ms. Roselle to help include her students in our leadership development class. Since then, students have shown major improvements in their social skills and behavior. This program is the first of its kind at Dinwiddie Middle School, and seeing how good it is for the students, hopefully it continues for other classes in years to come. Thank you, school board members, for listening to our presentation. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
54. 54% of jobs in 2024 contain coding. Good evening, school board. My name is Marvin Drew, and I'm here with my partners, Olivia Cox and Riley Powell. We are here to talk about our new initiative, the Hour of Code. We hope that you will take this initiative into your hearts and love it just like we have.
Good evening. I'm Olivia Cox, and the Hour of Code is a program that helps kids have fun but also learn fundamental coding skills in the process. These skills can help with real-life situations and creative vision. Having the skill to code can help with critical thinking and problem solving. When the new computer SOL comes in place, this initiative will not just prepare the students for this, but it'll also give them more experience, so the SOL will be easier for them. As technology becomes a bigger part in our everyday lives, we need people to fill the jobs and positions and roles in the technological field. This program will take an hour of the student's day to do these activities. The date for this initiative will take place in December. We will discuss with the teachers and principals of the elementary schools to set up a good schedule that works best for us and their classrooms. The rest of the leadership development class will be broken up into groups of 3 and present to the classrooms. These presentations will introduce the kids of what the program is and give them a demonstration on either the whiteboard or their Promethean boards.
I am Riley Powell, and in conclusion, the Hour of Code is an important initiative because it empowers kids and gives them skills they will hopefully keep for their entire lives. Lastly, Hour of Code can open more job opportunities in the near future. Ms. Walker has approved this initiative, and we hope you will help to promote this idea to every school, elementary to middle. Thank you all and have a great evening.
Thank you all so much. I would like to thank the teachers, Major Robinson, who is over our junior ROTC. Stand up. Ms. Roselle, CTE teacher, Mr. Hawkins, who is our engineering teacher, and then I would like to thank the parents, and then I especially like to thank all of the students who participated to present to you all today. So thank you all very much. This ends the middle school spotlight.
We're going to take a couple of minutes pause so that you may leave if you've got homework or to get the students home. But before we do that, I would just like to say that it's we appreciate the input from the students and appreciate the teachers' influence, but absolutely the future of coding is big, and it's something that everybody needs to be exposed to because it's going to be the driving force in technology. Comments from other board members? Start with you.
I just want to say that I am very impressed about the programs at the school. And I tell you, if people don't know what's going on at DMS, they need to find out. And I would like to thank the parents, the students, and the teachers. And parents, I encourage you to please stay in touch with the schools and be involved in your children's learning. Thank you so much.
Good evening to each of you, and especially today to the parents of these wonderful students that have come to give us highlights today. And as Ms. Meredith said, stay in touch. And Dr. Weston and all of your leaders, just know we're on the right track. Thank you.
Okay, I would just like to say I think it's wonderful. I did not know that they had the JROTC going from the middle school to the high school, and I think that's very, very good. And Mr. Hawkins, thank you for teaching them how to work with fractions in your engineering class. I taught Mr.
From the former
Mr.
math teacher
Hawkins
to the
math.
student.
But I think it's absolutely wonderful. And Ms. Pittman is correct about the coding. I think that is a wonderful, wonderful program too. And Ms. Walker, I think the what's going to be amazing, and we'll be interested to hear how it works with the parent shadowing the kids. I'd be very interested to find out how that goes. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Sniff?
I just want to say thanks to everyone that participated with the program here. Thanks for the new leadership. Doing a wonderful job. It's good to hear good things about Dinwiddie Middle School. Unfortunately, we sometimes don't always do that on computers. So I'm hoping everybody that's watching us will see that Dinwiddie Middle School is a good place to go. It's a wonderful school. Thank you all.
So we need some of you parents to put the good news on Facebook.
That's right. Definitely.
We're going to take a 2 or 3 minute pause so that the young people or their parents may step outside and take pictures. Thank you. It's good.
matching shirts on there for bridging the gap. They said we're partners. Oh, they're gonna take pictures. Yeah, I think there's like 3 days. I think there's several days she's gonna do it.
Had sufficient time to move the students out, and at this point, we are doing amendments to a budget adoption, which is not nearly as exciting as as seeing students.
Okay, I'll take that.
But it's important.
It's very important,
Yes.
absolutely. Thank you, Ann, appreciate that. You do have copies of everything that has been provided for you. And it's also been uploaded to Board Docs. Tonight, I'm just going to provide you, this is the first of probably a couple of different amended budgets. This one is going to be based on the new revenue that we've received, as well as some new expenditures that we need to include in this year's budget. So some of the revenue changes that we've seen recently, we have received now in the Fund 205, the school operating fund, we have a $937,557. And you can see on the document that I provided there for you, that's called the revenue budget. You can see where what was originally budgeted, and then what was the amended amount, and then what the changes are. It's about $48,000 in at-risk funding. There is about $74,000 for the grant that we received for the school security officer. We did receive additional, over $500,000 in additional money in basic aid. We received about $300,000 in compensation supplements. And as you know, we had already met that for this biennium. In school grants, we received a little over $2 million, and that is for the all-in program, and that you're going to be hearing a little bit about this evening, the governor's all-in program. School nutrition, additional of $125,500 in revenue, and this is just, we do project that Ms. Elder and her team will receive more in projected revenue. This is a great thing. Ms. Elder is doing quite well in school nutrition. She's always coming up with quite creative things to sell and provide our students. They love the slushy machines and things like that. So she's doing quite well. We do project that we have to take out the $1.6 million that we had allocated for the turf field because that was moved out of our budget by the county. Some of our expenditure changes, we do expect to spend the entire $937,000 in the school operating fund, the entire amount of the $2 million in the school grant fund. And we also expect to spend, there's some additional expenditures for equipment and food in the school nutrition. This is not additional monies that we need. Mrs. Elder had this money coming in as a beginning balance, and so it really will offset those costs. So this is not an additional expenditure to our budget, but we do have to report it as such. So in the operating fund, here are some of the things that we plan to use that these are the things that we're using the $937,000 for. Adjustments to reflect the actual personnel and salaries as of October 2023. As you know, we do our best to project people leaving positions, people coming into positions, but this is more in line with the actual amount of salaries. We did see an increase of about $186,000 to health insurance. That meant more of our employees are taking health insurance from us. So it's costing us an additional $186,000. We'd like to use the state share of the 2% compensation for a one-time $1,250 all-in stipend
What we're focused on is turning every classroom into a literacy classroom and using all employees for this all-in initiative to fill the gaps for our young people. We are also adding some additional teachers and paraprofessionals, specifically in kindergarten and special education and in the area of literacy. And then RISE support, as you know, that's our evening school for our students who cannot be in the in our Encompass program and cannot be in the traditional setting. So we do need some support there. We want to add a student support specialist at the middle school. We want to do 2 return on investment studies, one for special education, one for transportation. These are areas where we spend a great deal of money, and we want to make certain that we're getting our return on investment and we're spending the money in the wisest way possible. We did have to increase the line for legal services for special education. We're expanding Imagine Learning for EL services. We do have 2 students that are now attending Petersburg Alternative School, and we have to pay the tuition for them to attend there because we do not have a true alternative school here in Dinwiddie County. We've expanded landscaping services for all of our schools. We have now a work order system for our technology department. It's more in line with our work order system for our maintenance department, and we still have the use of some Khajiits. You're going to hear Mr. Walters talk this evening about the weapon or metal detectors. We have some training that we have planned for reading eggs and IEP threat assessment, and we have a new school security officer for our Encompass program, which is housed over in historic Southside. In our school grants, this is the $2 million. We do anticipate hiring additional teachers and specialists and tutors, specifically in the areas of reading and mathematics, to work with our students. Also to any remaining costs for the all-in stipend for all staff members. The implementation of the Virginia Literacy Act, and we're still waiting on information from the Virginia Department of Education, so more specifics will be coming once we receive all of that. The materials and supplies for literacy and attendance, training primarily for the area of literacy and possibly for mathematics, a summer academy for the next couple of summers, social worker, we'd like to add one. As you know, we tried to put 2 in the budget because the goal would be ultimately that we would have one for every school, but we need some help in the area of attendance, and then some attendance incentives. For school nutrition, I said that those costs would really be about adding, the food costs are becoming more expensive for breakfast and lunch, and then equipment, and most of it is the deferred maintenance that we're doing at Southside Elementary School. We've done quite a bit of work there. So the bottom line is that we expect a revenue increase of $1.6 million, an expenditure increase of $2 million. And just like to say that I do recognize that the expenditures are more than the revenue, and that is because, as I shared with you earlier, school nutrition did start their beginning balance this year with somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000. So that is why that is there currently. I'm happy to entertain any questions, but I'm asking for your approval of this version of the amended budget this evening.
Other questions for Dr. Weston? Okay.
No question.
And this does need to be approved and will also need to be approved by the Board of Supervisors as well. Well, I will say, I just want to say this about the compensation because I do think people will be interested about the 2%. You know, in Richmond, they like to say, well, we'll give you a 2%, another 2% increase. But what they mean is by that is we're only going to give a 2% increase to SOQ funded positions. So for us, it would mean that not every employee would receive a 2% increase. And for us to do a 2% increase for all employees would cost us probably somewhere around $500,000, right? So, but it's not just for this year, because then next year, we'd have to rely upon the county. We could figure it out this year, but then next year we'd have to defer to the county to say we need $500,000 that we took care of this year plus anything on top of what the government doesn't fund for this upcoming year. So for that reason, and because it's so uncertain from year to year, and you know, when we had our budget meeting with the county, I didn't hear the likelihood that they would be interested in wanting to continue to commit to something like that. We felt that the stipend was the way to go in this moment.
Yeah, the fact that it's nice to have the money, but then you have to include it in the salaries for the next year.
Correct.
Just ties your hands for the future as far as what your budget looks like. So
Yes.
I feel like it's a better way to do it with the stipend.
We also have a number of, our CARES grant, CARES funding is coming to a close, and we have a number of positions that we're looking into. We want to be able to move some of those over to the operating budget and the like. So there's just a lot of things that we need to be able to take care of, and we didn't want anything to interfere with that as well.
And I'm glad to see this across the board.
Yes.
Same, because we all
Right.
serve the same purpose.
Absolutely.
We're all essential.
When we say all in, it should be about all in, and not just for grades 3 to 8, or not just, it should be all in. We all going to do this work. Dr. Clay and I are going to go out to meet with all of the different teams to talk about what it's going to look like in every classroom and what it will look like in every department. So we're all in. We're all in.
So the money from the state that is for the all-in program, is that a one-time amount of money, or will
Well,
that
we'll be able to
continue?
carry that over. So that's why you see multiple years of, so we'll be able to, like if we hire teachers, we can keep them for a couple of years. But we feel like if we hire teachers, then we can absorb them into our, because we're always looking for teachers.
Right.
So it's a 2 to 3 year, we'll be able to carry those funds over. But we have the money now.
Any additional questions on the amendments to the budget?
I don't have any.
We need a motion to approve.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the amended budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And that
Thank you so
carries.
much.
You're welcome. Calendar revision. Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon. It is my pleasure to stand before you this evening and just talk about one calendar revision for the 23-24 calendar. So a little background first. We do have 175 student days built into this calendar. When we look at our requirement, we opt for the 990 instructional hours. So you cannot count lunch in that, but you can count everything else. So when we look at all of our schools, we calculate that saying there are 6 instructional hours in the day, though some schools have a little more. So with this current calendar and that calculation, we have 1,050 instructional hours. We are required to have 990. So that gives us 60 bank hours, which is about 10 days, just for weather or situations that may arise. There are other localities around us, I'm sure you have seen, that have provided staff with wellness days. So we have not built that in our calendar, but when we can do that, what a pleasure for everyone. So we would like to recommend that December 21st be a wellness day. So no staff, no students would come to school that day. That still leaves us 54 bank hours, so 9 days, just in case there's inclement weather. Then we can come back maybe in February and revisit where we are with weather to see if there are other days that we can provide for wellness days like President's Day or something of that nature. So this evening, what I am asking is that the board would approve that December 21st be a staff wellness day.
So that would not be expected to work from home or anything like that? There's just,
No.
You're just closed?
That is correct. We would just be closed that day.
Okay. Questions or discussion?
I just think, I'm all for it by all means, but just need to be watching the weather. It is calling for bad weather this we're storm.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think we're finally gonna get some snow we hadn't had in a long time.
I think so too.
And they will be wellness days all in of themselves. Yes, but we definitely agree with that, and that's why, right now we've not had to give any time for anything. So this would just be the one day, and we would not revisit this until at least February, and that just kind of depends on where we are with weather at that point.
Does that make the semesters or whatever very lopsided, or?
Not really. So right now, semester 1 has 88 days, and semester 2 has 87. So it would actually equal them out. It would.
Okay.
Any other questions?
If not, we need a motion to adjust the calendar.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve this recommended revision for the calendar. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Thank you.
New business. Anybody have new business? Or Ms. Burnett, do we have any new business that you know of?
Not that I know.
Okay. Superintendent matters.
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Walters to come forward. He's going to provide you with a report on security.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I know for the last couple board meetings, we've talked about security, and we've talked about how we've been working to improve our security in the school system. And today is kind of a culmination of that. Behind the scenes, there's been a committee that's been working on this, been meeting and talking about security. We did examine the security audits that each principal did for each school. And what we ended up doing was putting together a report on security, which took a look at every school and overall the school system and how we can improve our security. I did provide that report to you earlier, but I've made a PowerPoint that kind of brings this all together and gives you the highlights of that for you to, and then any questions you may have. There it is. Okay. So I did put the names of the committee up there, and Ms. Burnett's family also, but they were not involved. But I did want to make sure that you saw that we did take some particular thought into this committee. We wanted to make sure we had as much of this of our school system as we could represented in this, whether it be elementary, secondary, support services, and things of that nature. So we based it on the following documents: the crisis management plans for the school and the division, which we've talked about and you've approved. The school safety surveys, which are administered by the Department of Criminal Justice Services. The division safety survey, which is compiled by the Virginia Center for School and Campus Safety. And then the school safety audits, which are completed by school administrators at the conclusion of each year. And then we had a good deal of committee discussion amongst each other and then also individually on different items. We tried to base this on the 5 characteristics of maintaining a safe school environment according to the Virginia Department of Education, which are prevention, protection, mitigation, response, and recovery. And you'll see that a lot of our crisis management plans, as well as the county's crisis management plan, is broken up into these 5 characteristics. Once we finished that, Dr. Weston and I sat down and I said, it seems we have a safety plan and now we're gonna have a security plan, so it seems only right that we combine them. I did a little research, and that's how a lot of school systems do, is they combine the 2 plans together to make one complete plan, so that's what we've done. And this will be the safety and security plan. Just for reference, the difference, safety and security are 2 different things. Safety is the act of averting practices or eliminating the use of items when the potential for danger outweighs the educational value, whereas security is the purposeful efforts and equipment that we put into keeping everybody safe. So that's the difference, and those 2 things will be compiled into one plan, which will then be our public safety and security plan. The prevention aspect, and there's a lot of things that go into it, but I did want to highlight some for you. I know that this can become maybe a little tedious, but it is important information, so I wanted to highlight some. We use the code of conduct, and each year staff sits down with school building administrators, and we do look at this and make sure that it still reflects what our practice is and what we're trying to do and to accomplish as far as student behavior goes. We do the same with school bus behavior. The school bus behavior is embedded within the student conduct, but that's something that we change. Dr. Clay and I have already met and talked about some things that we want to change for next year, things that we see that we need to adjust. DARE, which has become very integral with the younger kids, especially 8th grade and younger, as far as drug abuse resistance training, but that's the name of it. But they do a lot of decision making and teaching youth how to make good decisions and how to get out of situations that they don't want to be in. So that's a very vital part of our prevention strategy. Protection, all of our schools have the Raptor technologies in them. We just did an audit of all of these and we had to order a couple more printers. The Raptor portion works, but the badge printer, needed some work. So we ordered some more of that. They all have surveillance cameras. For another project I'm working on, we counted them up. We have 450 surveillance cameras in our school system, which is a lot. We can see everywhere. So that's very important when it comes to safety and when it comes to making sure that we can know what's going on in our schools. All of our schools have access controlled exterior doors, which means you can't get into our school unless someone lets you in, which is human error, or you badge your way into our school system. The middle school had a couple doors just the other day that weren't working correctly. Ms. Walker called me. We got a contractor out there and they have the parts on order so they can get those fixed. So we're starting to be proactive instead of reactive with a lot of these things, which is important. We have school resource officers in all schools, 7 out of 7, and we want, the sheriff's departments work very hard to make that happen for us. And I think it's been a good thing. We're starting to see our resource officers interact with our faculty and staff and students in a educational setting instead of, when someone gets in trouble and the police come. It's better to get to know them in an educational setting, which has been very nice. All of our schools do have burglary alarms. We do have security vestibules in 5 of 7 of our schools, and we have plans, as you'll see in a minute, we have plans to correct that in the other 2 schools. And then school security officers. Any schools that house secondary students have security officers in them. 2 of them are armed and encompass in the high school, and then we have it unarmed at the middle school. Mitigation, we plan and practice school exit drills, and if the principals can tell you, that's something that I harp on. I'll email them, hey, general reminder, you haven't done your exit drill. So they're doing these exit drills, and I know there's a lot going on, but when it happens, when something happens, there's a fire or something like that, these kids need to know how to do this. It has to be a repetition, and the only way to do that is, just like any sport, you practice so that when the game comes, you're ready. So our DCPS admin has been participating in monthly tabletop activities. We've done 2 so far. We have another one Thursday, and I think it's been quite well received, and it gives an opportunity for everybody to get together and talk about how we handle situations and maybe get some information, but also gets us all on the same page so we have one uniform method of dealing with emergency situations. We've also, this summer, we went through behavior threat assessment management training, which has been very important because a lot of times you can avert a disaster, so to speak, if you just get together and find out why that child is in crisis and what the threat is to them. And then we can assess that and hopefully manage that. And our social workers have been doing a really good job of getting involved in that and making sure that they're guiding those groups a lot of times. Response and recovery, effective communication to all stakeholders. This is a tough one, quite honestly, because everybody communicates differently. Some people communicate on Facebook. Some people communicate through telephone, some people text, email. So you're trying to kind of run the gamut of all these different types of things. And I can tell you, Ms. Robinson-Williams has done a wonderful job of finding how people communicate and getting the information to them. Each time we send out information, we get better at it. And that's something that we're constantly trying to evolve and do better at. Situational response training, whether it be a hostile visitor, medical emergency, severe weather, utility failure, all of these things that we're practicing, because it only has to happen once to be a very impactful event. So you want to make sure you get it right. Additional staff on hand after emergencies. When we do have situations, when we do have tragedies, we make sure, and I can tell you that's the first thing on most people's mind is, how are these students going to be received back into the school, and how are we going to meet their needs when they do get there? And so that's a big part of response and recovery. Additional law enforcement on hand. We've called the Sheriff's Department, or the SRO has, and they've never hesitated. How many deputies do you need today? Do you have a situation? We can send them right over. Okay, so it's been very, very, very nice to get that. The second, and it's kind of a 2-prong approach that the things that we can go out and buy, we can go out and buy all kinds of things, the weapons detectors that Dr. Weston spoke about. but we also can do some things within our school system and how we operate and how we manage our systems that can also help. There was a term coined in the 70s, CPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design. How do you build your buildings, and then how do you upkeep your buildings to make sure that you help prevent, not necessarily crime, but you keep them secure in the schools. So it's kind of an adoption to schools. The first is territoriality. Your claim to your space. Make sure that people know when they come onto school property, they are on school property. And the way you do that, is a number of ways. Simply, you can do it through fencing, which we've talked about. Other ways, if you keep your grass cut, you keep the trees and the bushes cut well, it's very obvious when you come on school ground. I think that's something that the maintenance department has worked very hard on to make sure that our ground is kept so that you know when you come on school property. Natural surveillance, see and be seen. Can you see the parking lot? Can you see ingress? Can you see egress from the point of entry? So if you're sitting at the high school, can you see the entire parking lot? Can you see where people are coming into your building? Because the best type of surveillance is natural surveillance, seeing it with your own eyes. And then we mentioned some other things, some shrubs and trees kept cut so they don't obstruct view, or also so that you can't use that tree to get onto the roof, things of that nature. And these are all things we can control, and they're relatively cost effective. And the security presence, our security officers and our resource officers don't just sit in their office. We ask them to travel and observe, be around the building, be seen, look out for things, go to places where people could be hiding, could be trying to get into our school. And so, we're intentionally trying to be proactive about keeping people out of our school that shouldn't be in there. Access control we've talked about. We want to keep track of who comes into our building, when they come into our building, and we want to make sure that they come into our building with our permissions. And so that's why access control is important. Maintenance, well-maintained buildings are more secure. Okay, it's the broken window concept. You see a building with a broken window, you figure it's not as secure, so you try to get in. Well, we're trying to keep that from happening. We're trying to keep all the lights working in the parking lot. All of the, windows are well covered. And so those are some things that we're doing as a school system to try to improve our security. And I think that that's something that we'll continue to get better and better at. And last but not least, we students and staff, if you see something, say something. Make sure that if there's something going on or you feel like it's just not right, report it. The worst that can happen is it's okay and we find out that it's okay. So that is this report on school security quickly in a presentation. I did give you the full report that you can read that goes into how we plan to make sure that we fund these, whether it be through security grants, whether it be through end of year funding or things of that nature where we request money to help with these things. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. I know we've talked about security a lot, so.
I just want to continue to thank you and your team for doing everything possible to keep our buildings safe.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or observations? This is information.
Yep, this is informational, yes.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
Well, thank you for your work.
Thank you.
The updates from the various buildings, there is an ARGS update from that. Is there an ARGS update for this month? No. All right, and some of these, we had them in October and have not met yet this month. So there is not one for Rwanti or Code RVA or Maggie Walker. That's correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Citizens' comments, Ms. Burnett, are there any? We have a citizen signed up to speak, Vicky Rizzo. You come to the podium. And please state your name and address.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vicki Rizzo, 24301 Driver Road, North Dinwiddie. I just have a couple of questions. I don't know if you are able to answer today or if you want to get back to me. My grandson's bus has been late about 4 out of 5 days, and I don't mean 10, 15, 20 minutes. We're talking 45 to an hour, almost every day since school started. And the disruption and the chaos that it causes in our family is multiplied throughout. So, and I know there's a driver shortage. It's just an extraordinary job, and I know there's a shortage. I can't imagine the chaos that it's causing for multiple families. And I know it's a regional issue, it's a national issue. But saying that we don't have enough drivers, that's restating the problem. So my question is, are there any solutions on the table, and what are they? Or is this the way it's going to be for the rest of the year? I just don't know if there's an actual plan to fix it, or if this is just going to be the accepted way of doing business. I would imagine it's someone's actual job to fix these types of things. To me, that's a basic function of getting to and from school. And if you can't handle, the system can't handle the basic functions, then I don't know how you're covering any of these other bases. It's just a bad indicator of the way things are going. And also, my other question is kind of related. Is there a number, and do you all know it, of how many non-Dinwiddie resident students are riding these buses and going to school? Because I know there's a lot. I've heard 100. That's just from other people that I know who used to work with the school system. I don't know what your numbers would indicate. And so if you can't handle getting these kids to school on time, I don't understand why you're adding these extra children. And also, sort of related, last summer, a school board representative came to a board of supervisor hearing. And I'm sure you know that there's a new apartment complex coming to North Dinwiddie, where the buses are already running an hour to an hour and a half late. There's going to be 1,500 people living right there. And so I'm concerned about our kids getting bumped and to other schools. I'm concerned about the kids not getting to school on time. I'm concerned about them not getting home on time. And the school representative assured the board that the school system was ready and willing to take on these extra students. And it seems to me that the school system is still struggling to handle the basics of what you have now. So I just don't know how you envision that any of that would be solved. So specifically, is there a plan for this bus situation? And I mean, have you looked at the cost? I imagine is astronomical of privatizing it. I don't know, but it's got to be somebody's job. It's not my job. I don't know what else. That was it. Oh, so those two questions. One, the plan. Is there a plan? And two, what's the number on the students? Thank you for your time. Thank you for your work.
Ms. Rizzo, we'll get those answers to you, and typically we don't answer all the questions, but I do think we have some answers that we can provide. And one of the things that we do have going on, Mr. Walters, with the additional training, would you like to share that? It's not a magic wand to fix it all, but I would like for you to know what is in place.
Yeah, we actually do have plans, and it is my job to look at those things. And what we've done is, first we have to realize what we don't know. We bring in an expert to tell us how to fix problems. So we're in the process of procuring a transportation efficiency study, which is going to focus on routing and making sure we have efficient routing in our school system. The second thing we're going to do is we reached out to the community and to our school community and said, are any people willing to be fill-ins to help when these people call in sick, so we don't have a late bus, so we do have a driver. And I had 15 people respond back, including multiple principals, that they're willing to go through the training so that they can become a fill-in driver for their school. And the way that would work is if Dinwiddie High School had a late driver or a driver call in, that fill-in driver would be trained, and they would then, we deliver a bus to the school, they pick it up, they go run that route on time, park the bus back at school, go in and do their second job. So that's one of the ways we're addressing it immediately. As you can imagine, we have to train drivers, and they have to go through the process of learning how to drive a bus and getting a CDL license. But we are addressing this problem absolutely, because it is a problem, and we realize that. I can also tell you we've improved the communication to try to make sure that people know so they can make plans. Now, that doesn't make it easier, but at least you know when the bus just doesn't show up, at least you know the bus isn't coming or it's coming late. So that's the other thing we've done in the interim while we're waiting trained so that we can make sure we have less late buses. The truth is, we have 40 routes and 40 drivers. So if somebody gets sick, we have a late bus, and that doesn't include all the extracurricular trips that we're trying to provide for these children, field trips and things of that nature. I was the school board representative last year at the board of supervisors also, and I can address that.
Well, Dr. Weston attended that meeting as well
Yep.
and addressed that.
Well, first I would like to speak to, I think, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Walters, for all that you've done. We really are struggling. And, but we know that we are, and I think that we have a good plan in place moving forward. We have bus drivers, most of our bus drivers are retired and have a lot of life going on. And so it's not like people are just calling in sick because they want to call in sick. I mean, there are legitimate reasons for them not to be here. So I do applaud the staff members who are willing to lean into that work. As far as the non-residents, we don't have a practice of allowing non-residents to come to school here. The only individuals that are non-residents that bring children here would be employees' children. It's a benefit that if you live in, let's say if you live in Chesterfield and you can bring your children here to work with you. So as far as people that are non-resident, if you know somebody that's not, what we tell people is if you tell us, we will send people out to make sure that this family has to verify their address again. So we just need to know if you have, because we don't allow that to happen. So if you know of anybody that's getting on these buses that shouldn't be living, they don't live here anymore, we just need to know who they are, and we're happy to go out and take care of that. And then as far as the apartment complex, we just finished an enrollment study, which will be coming out in December. And so we'll know more about what the implications of the apartment complex will be for us. However, these are high-end apartments, and we don't foresee them being a lot of family type of apartments is what we're seeing currently. They're 3-bedroom, but they cost a fortune to live in. It's more than a house payment. It's more than a mortgage payment. So that they are 3 bedrooms. So I think that they were built to be multiple people versus families living in them. But the enrollment study will tell us more in December about what the implications will be. Our reasoning for saying that we can support it, meaning in our schools, we can take on the students. We do have room in our schools to take on the students. And we certainly could, so we're able to do that. So when the question was posed to us, can you take the students on? Absolutely, we can take the students on. Yes, ma'am. No, no problem. I understand that there's physical room in the building, doesn't mean you can get them back and forth on time.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have enough teachers.
Yeah.
None of that is the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that you know that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
It's not real.
Yeah. Over the last 5 or 10 years, we basically have lost enrollment.
Yeah.
Our enrollment is somewhat down, but you are correct. As we get it back, transporting them is a problem. And sometimes our amount of space in different classes, schools are taken up by special programming. So that's a consideration also. So it is valid concerns. You have valid concerns.
This is sincerely to help the school system.
Yes, ma'am.
I know multiple people, I know your enrollment's down for various reasons. I do know multiple people who have withdrawn their students because they are just not going to put up with it anymore for various reasons. So that's contributing to your enrollment going down. Also, Dinwiddie's population is aging.
Yes.
So people are withdrawing their students, and I would suggest maybe that you all would look into why people are disgruntled about sending their students to Dinwiddie schools. Because if you lose your school system, that's everything. I think the enrollment study, part of the reason why we opted to do that was because the last one we had was many years ago. I would tell you that our enrollment is up this year. The pandemic is when it went down. We do see homeschool numbers going up, and that's, I believe parents should have options when it comes to thinking they need, for various reasons. And so, my job is to educate children, so I'm always going to say, our doors are open, and, and that's what schools are here for. And so, but I do appreciate you providing that information. But I think you'll be interested to hear from the enrollment study about what they find. But Dinwiddie population is aging.
And that's one of the things when we met with the Board of Supervisors last month, we said to them, we just need to know what we're trying to build here, because we can't plan a school system if this is what you want this community to become, a place for an aging population. If that's what you want and that's who you're trying to attract here, then we need to focus on something very different in our schools. But if you really want it to turn into a community where young people come and they raise their children, then we have to focus on something very different in our school system and provide options for our families. So thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Does your grandson, does he get on the bus with you, or is, It's a mixed person. Okay, so you all share the responsibility? Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure we'll get you some answers. If you could, Mr. Walters, get her information so we can give you specifics about your situation. Okay. We love our bus drivers too.
And we appreciate you taking your time to come and bring these issues to us. Board members' comments. We'll start down here on this end. Mr. Sneff?
Just want to thank you for coming, definitely.
Yes.
I'd love to see parents come here. Wish we get a room full of them every day, every meeting. Something I've wished for a while now. And maybe some of the bus issues, we can maybe share the love.
Yeah.
I know we talked about that, where, not the same bus being late every day.
Yes.
And we can rotate it throughout the different buses.
He's done that, yeah.
Just give
Yes.
everybody unfortunate a chance to get some normalcy. And it's unfortunately there's a shortage of bus drivers. We're always welcoming new bus drivers.
Mhm.
Definitely, without a doubt. And thanks for everything you're doing, Mr. Walters.
Mhm.
I appreciate the new incentives and all you're doing with the security and the buses. And want to thank everybody and hope everybody has a nice Thanksgiving, safe and enjoyable, and spend some time with your family.
Ms. Haney?
Thank you for coming and sharing your concerns with us. And I think, Mr. Walters, you are doing a good job. And hopefully this will help, all this training for these new teachers. And have a nice Thanksgiving. It should be a wonderful Thanksgiving. And, hopefully the weather won't go back and forth like it's been doing and making everybody sick. But
We live in Virginia, don't forget.
yes, I know. 80s and then 60s. So anyway, hope y'all all have a nice Thanksgiving. We'll see you in December.
Ms. Benjamin?
Yes, I just would like you to know that during the last month, I attended some activities that were going on in our schools. The first one was Government Day, where the students took over. They had a project and they sort of ran government for, I guess, a year. They had some money to spend. Some did pretty good, and some it was a real learning experience, and it was a learning experience for me too. I also attended Industry Day, which was very, very interesting, and also the reality store on last week, wherein we had community leaders to come out and help students in a budget. I'm calling it budget, and that was very, very interesting, and how happy the community leaders were that they had been asked or they volunteered. It's something they love to do. And last week or week before last, I attended the Family University, which was very interesting, and we focused on mental health. And all of us know that COVID and other things that happened during the pandemic has increased and brought it to our awareness, and we're really working on that. So there are some good things that are going on in our schools, and it just continues. And I'm very happy about that. And thanks to those who came out and those who sponsored it, and thanks to all the team, because this is what we need. And thanks to Mr. Walters for being proactive and his safety effort, and also with the buses, because we know that it's not an easy job. But we thank all of you for what you do, Ms. Mayor.
Ms. Merritt?
The only thing I want to say is, first of all, to the veterans, thank you for your service, and you are appreciated. I just happen to be a military spouse, and it brought back memories, especially when the JROTC came up. It reminded me how my husband was a mentor for a couple of schools in Baltimore, and it was to help the students to become better citizens. And I appreciate seeing that in our school system. And again, great congratulations to Ms. Walker for her 1 month work anniversary, and happy Education Week to our families and our educators, and to our guests who spoke. I appreciate your questions, and I really wish more people in our community will come to the meetings to express their concerns so we can be a help to our students. Thank you.
I also attended the industry day, and one of the things that has struck me at that event was the vast amount of resources, jobs, businesses, training facilities, and so forth that we have in our area, and that they are willing to come and spend their entire day with the students. The students were, my compliments to the high school, they were well prepared. They came in with their questions and specific things that they were supposed to find out while they were there. And so it was very well received. I also attended the Bridge the Gap event the other night. It wasn't as well attended as I would like. However, those who were there, this discussion was good. The topics on vapes and drugs were very appropriate. We just need to keep offering these kinds of events and trying to get more and more parents to come. It was better attended than the one before, so if we have 10 people or 25 people in there getting the information, then they need the information. So we do appreciate that. And at this time, Alex, do you have any comments? Jonathan, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just glad to see that our county is taking an initiative, especially towards leadership and getting the values to the students that may need it or that just want to gain those experience, especially with the JROTC program. I know they're in good hands with Major Robinson. I've had the pleasure of meeting him and conversating with them, and I just know that they're in good hands. The engineering program is also good, seeing that some children do want to take that up when they're older, and especially our career investigations and career readiness courses. Those are also very well, as a lot of students, they think about going into a job before they think about what they need to get into the job. So it kind of helps them see what they need. But overall, I'm just happy with our county, seeing how we continue to grow and offer these opportunities to our students.
Thank you, Jonathan. Dr. Weston.
Students. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Appreciate that. I had an opportunity to attend some of these events too. I thought the family forum last night, I really appreciated that a lot. I thought you did a great job with that. I think sometimes it's easy for people to sit behind a computer and complain about things. And I'm just more appreciative when people show up and say, I'm going to be a part of a solution. So I just want to thank you for coming out this evening. I see Ms. Edwards is here this evening. It's much more difficult to say, I'm at the table and I want to be a part of a solution. And I want to come into the school and really see what's happening at the school. And so I'm appreciative that you're going to open the door so people can come in. We want to be very transparent and we need help, and it is going to take all of us. We all have to be in this in order to make it better for all of our children. We did have a community advisory meeting recently over the past week, and that was well attended. And we talked about things like attendance and, things that were keeping our parents up at night. And they have a lot of great ideas about things we can do for attendance. And we talked about opportunities for our young people, and they gave us a lot of feedback about that. And so we're just trying to find any type of forum possible to get feedback and then also take action on that feedback. So I just would just say thank you all, because it really will take all of us. And I just would say, in the spirit of this month, I'm just really grateful to continue to be able to lead alongside of each and every one of you and to serve in this community.
Thank you. Are there any other issues to come before the group or questions from anyone? If not, we will take a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you for coming.